I checked my phone for the 5th time in 3 minutes, trying to ignore the way the cafe's warm lighting suddenly felt like a spotlight on my loneliness. 7:42 p.m. We were supposed to meet at 7 o'clock. I had arrived early, nervous, hopeful, rehearsing clever lines in my head like a teenager instead of a 32-year-old man who had sworn he was done believing in, maybe this is the one. Her name was Alina. We'd matched 2 weeks ago, and unlike the usual shallow back and forth, our conversations had stretched past midnight, full of stories about childhood embarrassments, career regrets, and dreams we were too cautious to say out loud to most people. She had a quiet humor in her messages, the kind that made you smile long after you put your phone down. Tonight was supposed to be the moment all those words turned into something real. But the chair across from me remained painfully empty. Around me, couples laughed softly, spoons clinked against porcelain cups, and a waiter glanced at me with polite sympathy as he refilled my water for the 3rd time. I typed a message, "Hey, everything okay?" Then deleted it. I didn't want to seem desperate. At 7:58, my phone finally buzzed. My heart jumped so hard I almost dropped it. But it wasn't Alina. It was an unknown number. I hesitated before answering, half expecting a scam call or wrong number. "Hello," I said cautiously. There was a brief pause. Then a calm, mature female voice replied, "Is this Daniel?" My stomach tightened. "Yes. Who's this?" Another pause, longer this time. "This is Alina's mother." For a second, the world seemed to tilt. I straightened in my chair, glancing around as if someone might be watching this strange scene unfold. "Her mother," I repeated, my voice lowering. "Is Alina okay?" The woman exhaled softly. "She's fine, but she won't be coming tonight." A dozen explanations rushed through my mind. Cold feet, an emergency, a sudden change of heart. I braced for the polite rejection speech delivered secondhand. "She asked me to call you," her mother continued. "She didn't have the courage to do it herself." The words stung more than I expected. I looked down at my neatly pressed shirt, the small gift I'd bought for Alina tucked inside my jacket pocket. A bookmark engraved with a quote she once told me she loved. I felt foolish. "I see," I said quietly. "You must think this is ridiculous," her mother added, her tone shifting, almost apologetic. "But I wanted to meet you." I blinked. "Excuse me? I'm at the cafe, near the window behind you." My heart pounded as I slowly turned. There, seated at a small table near the corner, was a woman in her late 50s, poised and elegant, watching me with steady eyes. She gave me a small nod. For a moment I considered walking out. This was absurd. My date hadn't shown up, and now her mother wanted to what? Interview me? Humiliate me? But something in her expression wasn't mocking. It was serious.
Urgent.
Against my better judgment, I stood and walked toward her. "Daniel," she said gently as I approached, gesturing to the chair across from her. "Please."
Sit. He said.
Up close, I could see the resemblance to Alina in her eyes and the curve of her smile. "I'm sorry about tonight," she began. Alina panicked. "Panicked?" I asked, unable to hide my confusion. "She likes you," her mother said plainly. "That's the problem."
Ist daher.
"I don't understand." She folded her hands on the table. "My daughter has a habit of running when things start to feel real. She's been hurt before, deeply. And when she realized she actually cares about meeting you, she got scared." A strange mix of relief and frustration washed over me. "So she just didn't come?" "She's at home," her mother admitted, crying, "convinced you'll hate her." I leaned back, exhaling slowly. Part of me wanted to be angry. Another part, an inconvenient, hopeful part, felt protective. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. Her gaze softened. "Because I've watched my daughter build walls for years. And tonight, for the first time, she was terrified not of being rejected, but of being happy." Her words settled heavily between us. I wanted to see the man who made her feel that way. I swallowed. "And," a faint smile touched her lips, "and I see someone who waited nearly an hour instead of storming out after 15 minutes. I see someone who looks more disappointed than offended." She leaned closer. "So here's what I'm offering you." My pulse quickened. "Offering me? Come home with me," she said calmly. "Not in the way that sounds," she added quickly, almost amused by my widened eyes. "Come talk to her, face to face. Show her that running won't always cost her something good." My mind raced. This was insane. I had planned for small talk over coffee, not a confrontation in her childhood living room under the watchful eyes of family photos. "Why me?" I asked quietly. Her expression turned serious again. "Because she won't open the door for anyone else tonight. But she will for you." I looked at the empty chair that had haunted me for the past hour. I thought about the late-night conversations, the way she'd confessed she feared being too much or not enough all at once. I thought about how rare it was to feel something genuine in a world of filters and half-truths. And then I looked back at her mother. "If I go," I said carefully, "I'm not going to beg her to like me." Her mother smiled knowingly. "Good. Don't. Just be the man she's already started to care about." I hesitated only a second longer before nodding. "Okay." As we stood to leave the cafe together, I had no idea that the night I thought had ended in rejection was only just beginning, and that the offer her mother made would change far more than my relationship status. If you're feeling the tension building, if you've ever wondered what happens when love meets fear head-on, make sure you stay with this story until the end, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss the moments that change everything. Chapter 2. The drive to Alina's house felt longer than it probably was, my thoughts bouncing between doubt and determination as streetlights blurred past the car window. Her mother drove with quiet confidence, neither forcing conversation nor filling the silence with awkward reassurances. When we finally pulled up to a modest two-story home with warm yellow lights glowing behind lace curtains, my heartbeat thudded so loudly I wondered if she could hear it. "She's upstairs," her mother said softly as we stepped inside. The house smelled faintly of vanilla and something savory, like dinner had been abandoned halfway through. Family photos lined the hallway. Alina as a child in pigtails, Alina at graduation, Alina smiling beside people I assumed were friends long gone. Each picture felt like a glimpse into a life I wasn't sure I deserved to enter. We stopped outside a closed bedroom door. Her mother knocked gently. "Alina," she called, her voice warm but firm. "You have a visitor." Silence. Then a muffled response. "Mom." I said, "I'm not seeing anyone." Her mother looked at me and raised an eyebrow as if to say, "This is your moment." "It's Daniel," she added. There was a sharp intake of breath from inside the room. The sound alone made my chest tighten. A few seconds later, the door creaked open just enough for one tear-streaked eye to peek through. When she saw me standing there, uncertainty written all over my face, she froze. "You came?" she whispered. I managed a small smile. "You forgot something at the cafe," I said lightly. "Me?" Her lips trembled, and before I could second-guess myself, I stepped forward. "Can we talk?" I asked gently. She opened the door wider, stepping back to let me in. Her room was a mix of adulthood and lingering girlhood. Books stacked on a desk, fairy lights draped along the wall, a half-packed suitcase shoved under the bed, as if she'd once considered running far away. Her mother quietly retreated downstairs, leaving us alone. For a moment we just stood there, I'm sorry, Alina said finally, wrapping her arms around herself. I got scared. Of me? I asked. She shook her head. Of how I feel when I talk to you. It's easy. Too easy. And the last time it felt like that, I ended up broken. I nodded slowly. I'm not him, I said carefully, not needing details to understand the shadow of someone who'd hurt her. I know, she whispered. That's what scares me. I stepped closer, not touching her yet, just close enough that she could feel I wasn't retreating. Alina, I waited because I believed the girl I talked to for hours wouldn't disappear without a reason. If you don't want this, say it. I can handle the truth. But don't push me away because you think happiness is temporary. Tears slipped down her cheeks again, but this time they weren't just from fear. What if you leave? She asked, her voice small. What if I finally let someone in and they decide I'm too complicated? I took a slow breath. Then we deal with that if it happens. But running guarantees one thing: you lose before you even start. She stared at me as if weighing every word. My mom shouldn't have called you, she said weakly. I almost laughed. Your mom is terrifying, I admitted. But she believes in you. And I think I do too. Something shifted in her expression then, like a door unlocking from the inside. She stepped forward, and this time she was the one who closed the distance, wrapping her arms around me with a fragile kind of courage. I held her carefully, not as someone claiming victory, but as someone promising presence. I don't want to run anymore, she murmured against my chest. Then don't, I replied. Stay with me. Tonight isn't about perfect. It's about real. We pulled apart slowly, and for the first time that evening, she smiled. The same soft smile from her photos, but brighter, braver. Downstairs, her mother pretended not to watch us descend together, though I caught the satisfied glint in her eyes. As I prepared to leave later that night, Alina walked me to the door. Thank you, she said quietly, for not giving up after an empty chair. I brushed a strand of hair from her face. Thank you for opening the door. As I stepped into the cool night air, I realized something profound. Sometimes the offer you can't refuse isn't about wealth, power, or opportunity. Sometimes it's the chance to prove that love is stronger than fear. And if this story moved you, if you've ever faced an empty chair, a closed door, or the temptation to run from something beautiful, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Because here, we tell stories about second chances, brave hearts, and the moments that change everything.